Are you ready to dominate? Welcome to the Operation Dominate podcast. Chris Martinez, the owner
What's
of
up?
Love My Clean Windows, Love My Clean Roof, helps small business owners grow their business through copycat entrepreneur, helps churches grow through pastors, marketer, but most important, a family man who loves his wife and kids. I'm Gary Guyman, owner of Pressure Wash Cincinnati and Christmas Lights Cincinnati, godfather of the marketing mafia, husband to my best friend Jennifer, father to Tyler and Garrett, and owner of 100 University of Kentucky t-shirts. Let's dominate!
Let's dominate.
So last week, guys, in our maiden podcast, our first series, You Suck. So Chris and I discussed why you suck and the reasons why we suck, our upbringing, our parents, our friends, our lifestyle sometimes. You suck, we suck, I suck. But this week, let's talk about mindset. Let's get our mind right. Chris, what's going on?
That's right. Oh, man, I am, like you say, living the dream, loving life right now. It's awesome. Yeah, man, let's hop right into this. Let's not waste too much time. Last week was awesome, man. We got a lot of great feedback from it. If you haven't seen it, man, go watch it again, or go watch it. And if you did see it, go watch it again. This week, we're going to talk about the mindset. I was actually listening to somebody this morning, and his name is Art Williams, and he's got one of my favorite motivational speeches out there, and it's called "Just Do It." And he says this. He says like the difference between a winning mindset and a losing mindset is just, it's like this big, right? It's just like this is what. So it's like 1%. Like you can have 99% of everything right about you. But if you lack that 1%, that mindset, you can't win in business, you can't win in life. You have to have a mindset to win. And then on top of that, I was doing some reading last week, and one of my favorite guys that I like to refer back to his quotes a lot is Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar says two things. He says one thing: junk in, junk out. Junk in, junk out. And then he says this. He says, you are who you are and what you are by what you put in your mind. You can change who you are and you can change what you are by what you put in your mind. And I think that's absolutely true. You know, my life hasn't been easy, man. I've some of you know my story, some of you don't know my story. But man, at the age of 2 years old, foster care came and took me. You know, mom was a drug addict, dad was a drug addict. And I lived with 13 different families by the time I was 11. Let me just tell you, the mindset that I have today is not the mindset that I've always had. That's why I'm a firm believer that your destination isn't your starting point, right? Like some of you right now are going through some stuff in your life. And my encouragement to you is like, man, just change your mindset. We're going to get into this a little bit later, but be more solution focused than problem focused. But here's what I did, man. I used exactly what Zig said, man. Junk in, junk out. You are who you are by what you put in your mind. And I started to really remember last week we said you have to be brutally honest with yourself, right? And some of you know I grew up in the punk rock days, mohawks and colored hair. And one of the things punk rockers will always say is like, there's no future, there's no hope. And I took that, man. I took it and I ran with it. I'm gonna be poor my whole life. I'm gonna be this single bachelor my whole life. I don't deserve anything. So my mindset has always been of this worthless mindset. I'm just a nobody. I'm worthless. And so I've really just been taking what Zig says, man, junk in, junk out, and changing what I put in my mind. And I've seen a huge difference on that. So that's where we're starting this week, man, the mindset and how it can really affect your failures and your successes.
Absolutely. So before we started, I prefaced with Chris, so I'm going to preface with you guys. First of all, as much as sometimes I yell and scream and have antics and get crazy, just to be clear, I'm not a preacher, all right? No preacher. Now, I grew up Pentecostal, and I watch people walk on the back of pews and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But I'm like everybody. I'm a sinner in need of a savior. But hey, some things about me, because I want to preface this really good before I get into this. So I drink alcohol. I mean, I'm in Kentucky. I love bourbon. I like the occasional tobacco product. Cigars are something that 10, 15 of them a year. But I want to reference the greatest book that was ever written when we talk about mindset. Now, this is the Gaiman version. It's closely translated. But Romans 12, be transformed by renewing your mind. Got to get your mind right. 2 Corinthians 10 said the weapons of our battle is not of the body. So it's not of, this stuff right here, but the mind to destroy strongholds. So you see, there's a daily battle for your mind. And sometimes we don't recognize it. So current events, the news has all kinds of things that can take your mind, right? Financial issues. But the biggest thing that takes your mind and can get it distorted and off track is people. It's people, our relationship with people, our interaction with people. And then on top of that, some of us experience mental illness. Look, I suffer from depression. I've never been diagnosed, mainly because I haven't let a doctor do it. But I'm manic. I got highs and lows. That's what makes me so great at business, because I want to be way up here all the time. And then my wife gets to deal when I'm, way down here. We put others down. I do it all the time. I do the comparison and I'm better or they're not as good. We surround ourselves with the wrong people. We friend down and not up. And we allow others to hold us back from our potential. And we allow them to plant those seeds of negativity. And our mind in that battle gets lost when all of that stuff happens. And your mindset is what determines your success. What is it? Your attitude determines your altitude, determines your ability to overcome, your ability to be what you were created to be. And mindset is what we have to recognize on a daily basis that we have to renew. We can't be that person that puts other people down. We can't be that person that talks bad about someone behind their back. We can't be that person that puts people in situations where we don't want to be, because all of those things affect our mindset. And then when we have to deal with situations where we have to overcome, we're beat down with that mindset that we've developed of pushing people down, of putting people down in positions where we don't want to be, but we've done it over and over and over again. And now our mind is whacked. And so you got to get your mind right. You got to put yourself in a position to where you're transforming that mind on a daily basis and realize your battle isn't, like I said, of the body. Your battle is with the mind to tear down and destroy the strongholds. What are the strongholds? All those things that I talked about that you need to dominate and overcome and put your sights on the things that matter. If you want to be successful in business and you want to be successful in relationships, you've got to renew your mind on a daily basis with the things that matter.
That's right. I got something out of what you just said, man. One of my favorite sayings is the biggest enemy is, guess who? Is the enemy, right? The biggest enemy isn't your parents and the way they brought you up, isn't your boss, isn't the economy, isn't the government, isn't all the other stuff that everybody else wants to say it is, but the biggest enemy is the enemy, right? And it all starts with the mindset. So we want to come on here. We want to share with you some values. We want to share with you we don't want to just put out like, hey, you suck. All right, good night, everybody. We actually want to help you guys understand, like, you know what, man, it's taken me almost 10 years to get to a mindset where I'm at today. I shared a little bit of my story. I'm pretty much an orphan kid. I grew up in the foster care system. I've been abused in every sense of the word abused. I mean, you name it, it's happened, right? And so the mindset has played a whole lot. I remember even before I met my wife, like I remember meeting my wife thinking like, I'm not good enough for this girl, man. There's no way. I remember starting my business and telling myself like, man, there's just no way I can ever be successful. You know, I remember even like right now, it's a battle every stinking day, dude. Every single day I'm battling. And like Gary said, every day I renew that mind. I renew it. I come out. And so what are the steps that I've taken to renew my mind? Well, I think right off the bat, like Zig Ziglar says, junk in, junk out, man. I stopped, as much as I love punk rock music, still to this day, I go to the shows, I listen, it's on my phone, it's in my car, everywhere I go, I'm listening to some punk rock, but I refrain from some songs. There's some things that I don't like, man, you're hopeless, you're worthless, you're going to be a failure your whole life. Like, I already believe that. I don't need someone else telling me that, right? And then second of all, I'm careful on who I let plant seeds into my mind. And I was sharing with Gary, you know, one of the first time, right when I first started my window cleaning company, we're sitting around outside my patio. We had a little bonfire going, and I remember I was telling somebody my goals. I said, man, you know, I'm gonna make 6 figures, because I was a welder at the time, and I was about to make 100 plus grand a year. And I said, man, you know what? I'm gonna replace my income. I'm gonna make 100 grand a year from washing windows. And this person looked at me and was like, yeah, right. Good luck. I didn't even believe in myself, and yet I have someone else feeding my mindset. And you know what? I was like, you know, I second guessed myself. I was like, you know what, dude? Whew, man, maybe I should keep welding. Maybe I should stay as a welder and this window. Maybe everybody's right. But here's what I decided to do. Renew my mind. Junk in, junk out. I had my wife. No, don't listen to that garbage. You are somebody. You are worth it. You have a potential inside you. And I just surround myself, which next week we're going to get into the environment. We're going to get into who you're surrounded by. Who are you letting talk into your life? And, but actionable steps, guys. Junk in, junk out. What are you listening to? What are you reading? You know, all that cliche stuff that we always are, you know, the motivational speakers are saying and all this other crap that everybody says, right? A lot of it's true. I know it's cliche as can be. Nobody wants to hear half the crap like, oh, just think positive thoughts, right? Nobody wants to hear all that crap, but it's true. I had a friend that, man, he was just the most positive person I know. He had a flat tire, and I remember him like, oh shit. Thankful I got a flat tire. I got to work out today. And I'm like, dude, shut up already, man. Nobody want to hear all that. But I understand where he's coming from. I get it. Junk in, junk out. Fill your mind with positive stuff. Renew your mind every single morning. And you know, those are my actionable steps, man. Just fill your mind with positive stuff and be around people who celebrate you and not just tolerate you.
Absolutely, man. I would say this. And anybody that talks to me, when they call me, the first thing that comes out of my mouth when they say, hey, man, how you doing? Living the dream. And that's really a mindset. And here's why. I've lived a nightmare. I know what the nightmare is like. And I know that I don't want to be in that nightmare. So I tell myself that life is a dream if I make it the dream that I want to be. I was asked twice this week, where you want to be in 5 years? And I said, on a beach, because that's where I want to be in 5 years. That's the dream that I have. I'm not saying I'm retiring. I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm just saying that that's where my mind is. That's where I'm ready to go. But if I get down every day and I'm put in a place to where, man, life sucks, because it's easy to get there. Like I said, I'm manic. Highs and lows, and the lows are real low and the highs are real high. I can get to life sucks real quick. But if you don't let yourself get there by telling yourself life is a dream, you make of life what you put into it. It's like Chris said, junk in, junk out. So make sure you put quality in, so quality's coming out. So, you know, how are you doing? Living the dream, number one. Number two, embrace your setbacks. Use them as a way to get stronger. Coming back to that verse that I quoted, the battle is not of the body, it's of your mind. So realize that the setbacks are nothing to do with outside. It's with your mind. It's to get you off course, get you off track. You get that letter in the mail from the IRS that says we're getting ready to hit your bank account. We could go on the deep end. When I was in the mortgage business, it happened, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And it wasn't a small number; had 5 digits before the 0. So you had to figure out, what am I going to do to get stronger? And then finally, the biggest thing that I think that you have to do to protect your mindset is to guard your influence. Be influenced by overcomers. Don't be influenced by people that haven't overcome or that will put you down, kind of like the people that Chris was around that laughed at him when he spoke his goal. Be influenced by overcomers, because by being influenced by overcomers, you'll be an overcomer. So,
that's right.
You got anything else for us, Chris Martinez?
No, man, I think that's good stuff, man. Nice, simple, easy. I think me and you both, dude, like we're not like grew up in this perfect life by any means. I think that we've been ran over several times by people. We've been taken advantage of by bad bosses. Let me share just real quick, and I know we're coming to the end. Right now, this year, right, Houston has experienced probably a winter that we've never experienced before, right? My service business, honestly, took a dip those last 2 weeks, man. Like, I'm like, holy cow, I wasn't expecting all that, right? And then in the middle of that, I get served papers saying, hey, you're being sued, right? And here's the beauty about this is I still think 2018 gonna be my best year yet, man. Like, to this year, this will be because of my mindset. Just about 5-6 years ago, going through what I'm going through right now, I would have. You can ask my wife. I would have pulled out. Not that I have much hair, but I would have pulled out every hair in my head and freaked out and like quit. And life sucks. But man, my mindset has changed, and it's driven me to this. One thing I posted this the other day is, if you're be more solution focused and don't be so problem focused. The more you focus on the problems, the more problems you're going to have. As soon as a problem comes up, here's what my mentor told me one time is that as soon as they think a problem, they say, I can't do it, their creativity shuts down. And so what he says is that always have that I can't attitude, because this is what forces you to be creative, right? So man, I remember even in my business, some of the biggest ruts we've ever been in have been just me saying, okay, what's the solution? I know the problem is huge. I know it's big, but what's the solution? Now this forces me to think. This just makes my mindset go in circles to say, and then I become creative, right? Then I'm like, holy cow, I didn't even know I had that in me. So, man, guys, junk in, junk out. Get you, be solution focused. Get you some people around you that are just filling your mind up. Not yes men. You want some people that are brutally honest with you, but you be around some people that are like, hey man, if you want to quit your job and start a window cleaning company, dude, I believe in you. I know you can do it. So that's it for me, man. That's it, dude. If me and Gary can do this, I know for a fact anyone can do it. So every excuse you have in your head right now, man, just start to eliminate it. And I guarantee, man, that winning mindset will start to show up. It has nowhere else to go but out. So,
man, the best thing you said is, if Gary can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, I'll share some very deep personal stuff next week that will help you understand that statement is gold. So the key is this: you don't have to suck. It's a choice. Choose to dominate. Dominate your life. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us and listening to the Operation Dominate podcast. Check us out on your favorite podcast platform. Dominate. Check it out, our YouTube channel, Operation Dominate. For Chris Martinez, I'm Gary Guyman. Let's dominate every aspect of our life.